Hark, ye seekers of success, you pursuers of the glorious grind. And so you've arrived, clicking, scrolling and stumbling into this peculiar corner of the digital void, seeking, what exactly? Validation for your relentless toil? A morsel of wisdom amidst the chaos? Or perhaps, dear viewer, you were lured here by sheer curiosity, that capricious siren of the soul, promising profundity yet delivering absurdity, wrapped in verbose nonsense. But fret not, for your decision to engage with this video speaks volumes about your character. It reveals an insatiable hunger for meaning cloaked in productivity, a yearning to transform your existential ennui into a narrative worth repeating at dinner parties. Truly, it takes a special kind of audacity to believe that this, of all things, might illuminate your path. And yet here you are, noble and slightly misguided, ready to absorb whatever intellectual debris I scatter your way. Bravo! Permit me to spin you a tale. A tale of ambitions so relentless, so all-consuming, that even my dreams themselves could no longer afford to lounge about in the realm of possibility. Nay, they were forced to clock in, punch the proverbial time card, and pick up a shift at mediocrity's finest establishment. Permit me to emphasize my hustle operated at a velocity of 5 quatuor quinquagintillion, 768 tresquinquagintillion, 345 duoquinquagintillion, 986 unquinquagintillion, 734 quinquagintillion, 892 novem quadragintillion. Oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, here I go again with this nonsense. Oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness. 923 duoquadragintillion, 478 unquadragintillion, 683 quadragintillion, 596 novemtrigintillion, 324 octotrigintillion, 879 septemtrigintillion, 962 sextrigintillion, 743 quatuor trigintillion, 568 octoquadragintillion, 793 septem quadragintillion, 684 sexquadragintillion, 432 quatuor quadragintillion, 765 triquadragintillion, 873 trivigintillion watts of ambition per second. Every hour I produced 874 duoquinquagintillion tasks, fueled by a caffeine intake rivaling 875 quatuor quinquagintillion gallons of espresso. Espresso brewed not with mere water, but with the tears of overworked ambitions, the hopes of deadlines long forgotten, and a dash of existential dread for flavour. Espresso so potent it could ignite a supernova, so relentless it demands its own payroll, and so unforgiving it stares back at you and whispers, "One more sip and you'll finally understand time travel." It began innocently enough. A to-do list here, a side hustle there, just a small ripple in the vast ocean of productivity. Or so I thought. But soon, that ripple became a tidal wave, a tsunami of tasks crashing against the fragile shores of my sanity. The to-do list multiplied like an unchecked algorithm, birthing subtasks, microtasks and tasks so infinitesimally specific they defied logic. Reply to email became craft a 3-paragraph response, which became research sender's life history to ensure the proper tone of gratitude. The side hustle? It metastasized into side hustles, plural, each demanding attention, each sprouting its own ecosystem of ambitions, plans and contingency spreadsheets. Suddenly my life was not a life, it was an assembly line of obligations. Each minute was accounted for, each second allocated to a task that led to another task that led to a task I didn't even know existed until it was already overdue. Permit me to reiterate, it began innocently enough, but now I was no longer a participant in the grind. I was its architect, its victim, its prophet, a coffee-fueled Sisyphus rolling my to-do list uphill, only to watch it grow heavier with every passing moment. Innocence became obsession, obsession became compulsion, and compulsion became the 878 duoquinquagintillionth hour of staring at my screen, wondering if this was all there was. Before long, the grind overtook my life. By week 1, I had scheduled my time so efficiently, my calendar resembled 876 quatuor quinquagintillion puzzle pieces stacked in impossible precision. By week 2, the hustle became so relentless, my dreams started outsourcing themselves. I overheard one of them negotiating a freelance gig for 877 duoquinquagintillion moments of potential, while another filed for unemployment benefits with the Department of Forgotten Ambitions. Permit me to reiterate, my dreams didn't die, they went corporate. Do you know what it's like to see your dream? A vision so bold it once inspired you to leap out of bed, now working as a cashier in the checkout line of What could have been? Do you know what it's like to overwork so spectacularly that your imagination sends you an invoice for 878 trivigintillion minutes of wasted inspiration? Every spark of creativity was now reduced to a cog in the machine, spinning endlessly through 879 duoquinquagintillion tasks per hour, tasks that went nowhere, accomplished nothing, and yet consumed everything. Permit me to repeat, the grind is not just a habit, it's an empire. An empire built on the bones of unfinished projects and fueled by the ceaseless hum of overworked neurons. It stretches beyond reason, a sprawling kingdom of unchecked ambition and unattainable goals. Its borders are marked by endless sticky notes, its walls constructed from overdue deadlines, and its towers reaching into the heavens of misplaced priorities. It is ruled by a tyrant, me, sitting atop a throne made of shattered coffee mugs and brittle promises, issuing decrees to an army of tasks that march endlessly into the void. The grind does not sleep, does not pause, does not ask permission. It consumes, it devours, it multiplies itself until it becomes a self-sustaining machine, churning out new ambitions faster than they can be completed. Permit me once more to emphasize, the grind is an empire. It has no borders, no limits, no mercy. Its anthem is the relentless clicking of keyboards, its currency the fleeting moments of stolen time. Its monuments are built from burnout, towering high into the skies of exhaustion, casting shadows of regret over the landscape of forgotten dreams. And its conqueror? The grind needs no conqueror, for it conquers you. You, dear viewer, are its subject, its architect, its eternal prisoner. And my dreams were its most overworked employees. But perhaps, dear viewer, there is wisdom in this chaos. Perhaps our dreams were never meant to work alone. Perhaps they thrive not in isolation, but in collaboration, with discipline, with structure, and yes, even with a little bit of hustle. For what is the grind, if not a proving ground? What is ambition, if not a contract scrawled in 875 trivigintillion desperate strokes of effort, drenched in the ink of exhaustion, signed with trembling hands and sealed with the wax of sleepless nights? But balance, dear viewer, balance is no mere luxury. It is the currency, the keystone, the fragile thread tethering ambition to sanity. It is the moment between chaos and clarity, the breath before the plunge, the whisper amidst the roar of 876 duoquinquagintillion unchecked tasks, clamouring, demanding, screaming for your attention. Balance, dear viewer, is the light on the edge of burnout's abyss, the final bastion before the grind devours all. And yet, how often do we barter it away? How often do we trade it for 877 trivigintillion hollow achievements, chasing a success that never stops running? How often do we forget that ambition without balance is not ambition at all? It is madness masquerading as purpose, a fire that consumes without ever warming. And so, I did what any self-respecting hustler would do. I gave my dreams a promotion. No longer would they toil in the shadows of endless tasks. No longer would they serve as unpaid interns in the business of my ambition. No longer would they toil in the shadows of endless tasks. No longer would they serve as unpaid interns in the business of my ambition. No longer would they fetch coffee for my excuses, file paperwork for my procrastination, or draft emails for my doubts. No longer would they sit quietly in the waiting room of my mind, hoping for a meeting that never comes. No longer would they answer calls from fear, respond to texts from hesitation, or hold brainstorming sessions with regret. No longer would they be sidelined by the tyranny of overthinking. No longer would they mop the floors of mediocrity or dust the shelves of abandoned potential. No longer would they settle for less. No longer would they apologize for existing. No longer would they be reduced to footnotes in my story. No longer would they live in the basement of my ambitions, staring up at the ceiling of possibility. No longer would they be silent. No longer would they wait in line behind my fears. No longer would they whisper their worth in the shadows of doubt. No longer would they be benched by the excuses of some day. No longer would they tolerate the tyranny of tomorrow. No longer would they watch from the sidelines as I toiled for tasks that didn't matter. No longer would they be shoved into the filing cabinet of forgotten ideas. No longer would they sit, gathering dust, in the attic of ambition. No longer would they be sacrificed to the grind for the sake of checklists. No longer would they fetch meaningless goals from the asphalt of a parking lot. No longer would they answer to failure's mocking call. No longer would they drown in the sea of overthinking while clutching a raft of maybe next time. No longer would they scrub the floors of my hesitation or clean the windows of my uncertainty. No longer would they sign the paychecks of my doubt. No longer would they build castles in the air only to watch me tear them down. No longer would they suffer in the prison of not yet. No longer would they wear the hand-me-downs of my past failures. No longer would they sweep the ashes of burnt-out potential. No longer would they shout into the void and hear nothing but the echoes of my indecision. No longer would they apologize for existing. No longer would they apologize for being everything I didn't have the courage to pursue. No longer would they shrink beneath the weight of my excuses. No longer would they sacrifice themselves on the altar of mediocrity. No longer would they bow to the grind. No longer would they wear the uniform of mediocrity. And now, they will be everything they were meant to be, everything they demanded to be, everything I refused to see until now. No longer will they shrink. And then everything, it is everything they were meant to be, everything they demanded to be, everything I refused to see until now, everything that was buried, everything that was hidden, everything that was denied, everything that was broken. No longer will they wait, no longer will they break, no longer will they be anything less, no longer will they be silent. And now, it is everything, it is all, it is more than everything. It is everything and nothing and all of it and none of it. It is light, it is dark, it is chaos, it is order. It is fire and ice and flames and shadows. It is the beginning and the end and the never and the always and everything they were meant to be, everything they demanded to be, everything I never let them be, everything. They will rise, they will scream, they will burn, they will be everything. No longer, forever. Quentin Tarantino, Quintillion, Tarantiquinquagintillion, Quinquagintillion, Tarantillion, Tarantiquinquagintillion, Quintarantillion, Quintarantiquinquagintillion, Tarantillon Quinquagintillion, Quintillion Quinquagintillion, Quinquagintillion, Quintillon, Quintarantiquagintillion, Tarantinquagintillion, Quintitarantillion, Quintiquagintarillion, Quinquagintarantillion, Quintaranquagintillion, Tarantillion Quintagintillion, Quinquantarantillion, Quintinquagintarillion, Tarantiquintillion, Quintarantiquinquagintillion, Quintiquinquagintarillion, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Vol. 2, Death Proof, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantiquinquagintillion, Quinquagintillion, Tarantintillion, Quintillarillion, Quintiquinquarillion, Quincarantiquillion, Quinquagintarantillion, Quintiquinquarillion, Tarantinquillion, Quintintillion, Quintiquinquiltarantintillion, Quintitaranquillion, Tarantiquinquillion, Tarantillion, Quintiquagintillion, Quinquintillion, Dear viewer, let this be a lesson: hustle if you must. But remember this: dreams are not employees, they are the architects of the life you are meant to build. Permit me one final repetition.